The first thing I saw was my daughter standing over my hospital bed, holding my discharge papers like they were a weapon. "You don't belong here anymore," she said quietly. Then she leaned closer, her voice dropping into something colder than the hospital air. "Honestly, Mom, you should just die alone. It would be easier for everyone." For a second, I couldn't breathe, not because of illness, because of her, my own daughter. And the nurse standing behind her didn't even look surprised. That's when I realized this wasn't the first time she had said something like this, and it wouldn't be the last. But what I didn't know yet was that my name had already been erased from everything I thought I owned. Everything. I stared at her, my lips trembling. "What did you just say to me?" She didn't blink. "I said you should accept it. You're old. You're a burden now." A burden? That word hit harder than the IV needle in my arm. But the worst part wasn't her words. It was the papers in her hand. Discharge papers and something else underneath. A legal document with my signature. Except I didn't remember signing it. And that was the moment everything started falling apart. It had begun 3 days earlier. I remember because the doctor said something that made my daughter suddenly very interested in my health. "Your mother will need long-term care," the doctor said. "She cannot live alone anymore." My daughter's face changed instantly, not with concern, with calculation. That was the first time I felt it. Something was wrong. She squeezed my hand too tightly. "Don't worry, Mom. I'll handle everything." Handle everything. Those words should have comforted me. Instead, they felt like a warning. Back at home, or what I believed was still my home, I noticed small changes. My medicine moved, my mail missing, my bank cards suddenly not working. Every time I asked, my daughter would smile softly. "Oh, Mom, you're just tired. You're forgetting things." But I wasn't forgetting. Something else was happening. Something I wasn't being told. And then came the first betrayal. My son arrived. I hadn't seen him in weeks. He didn't hug me. He didn't even sit down. He just looked around the house like he was inspecting property. "Mom, we need to talk about your living situation." Living situation. Not home, not life. Situation. That's when I noticed my daughter-in-law standing behind him, arms crossed, smiling too much, and I knew immediately this was not a family visit. This was a meeting. Suspenseful pause. They sat me down at the kitchen table, the same table where I once helped my children with homework, where birthdays were celebrated, where life used to feel warm. Now it felt like a courtroom. My son slid a folder toward me. "We think it's best if you sign this," he said. I opened it. My breath stopped. It was a transfer of authority, power of attorney, everything. My house, my bank, my medical decisions, everything signed away to them. "I didn't ask for this," I whispered. My daughter finally spoke, and her voice, I will never forget it. "You didn't have to. We already decided." Decided, not asked, not discussed, decided. That was the moment I realized I wasn't part of my own life anymore. I was something they were managing. But the real blow came later that night. I found the bank envelope. It had been hidden behind my old tea boxes. I don't know why I looked there. Maybe instinct, maybe fear. Inside was a letter from my late husband. My hands shook as I opened it. "My love," it began. "If you are reading this, then they have started." My heart stopped. "They will try to take control of everything. Let them believe they succeed, but remember this: Nothing is what it seems. Under the letter was a key and a bank address I'd never seen before, and a sentence that made my entire body go cold. If they turn against you, activate what I left behind. The next morning, I went to the bank. I didn't tell anyone. I told myself I was just checking old accounts, but deep down, I already knew something was waiting for me. The bank manager looked at me strangely when I gave my name. Then he said something I will never forget. "Ma'am, your account has been dormant for years, but it was never closed." I frowned. "That's impossible. I don't have any major accounts." He hesitated, then turned the screen toward me, and my world collapsed again. There were accounts, multiple, large sums, property holdings, and a trust fund under my name, but controlled by conditions. And one condition stood out: only activated when the family ceases support. My hands trembled. "They told us you were being cared for," the manager added. "Who told you that?" I asked quietly. He checked the file, and then he said the name, "My daughter." Emotional silence. I sat in the bank chair for a long time. No tears, just stillness, because something inside me had shifted. This wasn't neglect. This wasn't misunderstanding. This was planned. But I still didn't understand the full picture until my granddaughter called me that night. Her voice was shaking. "Grandma, you need to be careful. Mom is angry. She said if you don't sign the house papers soon, she'll make sure you end up somewhere you can't come back from." Something snapped inside me. House papers. So that was it. They weren't just controlling me. They were trying to erase me legally. But what they didn't know was that I had already started waking up. The next twist came unexpectedly. My son showed up alone late at night. He looked different, less confident, more desperate. "Mom, just sign the papers, please. It's the only way to fix everything." I stared at him. "Fix what?" He hesitated, then said it. "The debt." Silence. Debt? Not mine. Hers. My daughter's. And suddenly, everything made sense. The control, the urgency, the cruelty. It wasn't just greed, it was survival disguised as entitlement, but survival built on destroying me. That night, I made my decision. Not anger, not revenge, strategy, silent power. The lawyer's office smelled like old paper and truth. Calm, determined voice. "I need to review my husband's trust," I said. The lawyer looked at me carefully, then opened a sealed file, and everything changed again, because inside was a clause, a hidden clause. If my family attempted financial manipulation or forced transfer, everything would immediately revert to me. Everything. House, accounts, control, everything. But there was more. A recording clause. Any attempt to coerce me would trigger automatic legal review and evidence collection. I felt my breath catch. My husband hadn't just protected me, he had anticipated betrayal. The final confrontation happened in my living room. My daughter was smiling when she walked in, like nothing had changed, like I was still the same woman they controlled. My son stood behind her. My daughter-in-law crossed her arms, all of them waiting for me to break. I placed a folder on the table. "Before we talk," I said quietly, "there's something you should hear." I pressed play. A recording. My daughter's voice filled the room. I don't care what she thinks. She signs or we make her irrelevant. Then my son. She won't fight it. She never does. Then my daughter-in-law. If she resists, we'll handle it legally or otherwise. Silence. The air changed instantly. Their confidence cracked. My daughter's smile disappeared. Where did you get that? I looked at her, and for the first time, I wasn't afraid. I didn't get it, I said calmly. Your father left it for me. The room froze. Then I added the final line. And you activated everything when you decided I should die alone. What happened next wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was quiet. Legal notices, frozen accounts, property transfers, court orders. Everything unfolding like a silent storm they couldn't stop. My daughter tried calling lawyers. My son tried negotiating. My daughter-in-law tried blaming me. But none of it mattered anymore, because truth, once activated, doesn't argue, it executes. Weeks later, I stood in my house alone. Not abandoned, not forgotten, just finally mine again. My granddaughter visited often. She would sit with me on the porch. Sometimes we didn't speak. Sometimes we didn't need to. One evening she asked me softly, "Do you hate them?" I thought about it, then shook my head. "No," I said gently. "Hate still gives them space in my heart. I don't have space for them anymore." She cried quietly. So did I. But it wasn't pain this time. It was release. The last time my daughter called, she didn't sound angry. She sounded small. "Mom, we lost everything." I closed my eyes, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like a victim. I felt like a person again. "I know," I said softly. She paused. "What do we do now?" I looked out the window. The house was quiet, peaceful, mine. "You start over, the same way you made me start over, alone." And I hung up. Because in the end, I learned something no one tells you about betrayal. It doesn't destroy you. It reveals who was never willing to protect you in the first place. And when the truth finally stands up, it doesn't need to shout. It just walks away. That night, I sat in silence in the home they tried to take from me and finally understood something I had spent my whole life forgetting. Respect is not something you beg for. It is something you reclaim the moment you stop surviving for people who never valued your existence.